Dibrey ha'Yamim2, 2Chronicles, chapter 22. And the inhabitants of Yerushalayim appointed Ahazyahu, his youngest son, to reign in his place. For the raiding band that came with the Arabians into the camp had slain all the older sons. So Ahazyahu, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yahudah, reigned. Ahazyahu was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Yerushalayim 1 year. And his mother's name was Athalyah, the granddaughter of Omri. He too walked in the ways of the house of Achav, for his mother counseled him to do wickedly. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuah, like the house of Achav, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. He also walked in their counsel and went with Jehoram, son of Achav, sovereign of Yisrael, to fight against Hazael, sovereign of Aram, and Ramoth Gilead. And the Arameans smote Joram, and he returned to Yisrael to recover from the wounds which he had received at Ramah when he fought against Hazael, sovereign of Aram. And Azaryahu, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yahudah, went down to see Jehoram, son of Achav, in Yisrael, for he was sick. But from Elohim came the downfall of Ahazyahu through his coming to Joram. For when he came, he went out with Jehoram against Yahu, son of Nimshi, whom Yahuah had anointed to cut off the house of Achav. And it came to be when Yahu was executing judgment on the house of Achav that he found the rulers of Yahudah and the sons of Ahazyahu's brothers who served Ahazyahu and slew them. So he searched for Ahazyahu, and they caught him while he was hiding in Shamaron, and brought him to Yahu and put him to death, then buried him, for they said, "He is the son of Yehoshaphat, who sought Yahuah with all his heart." And there was none in the house of Ahazyahu strong enough to reign. And when Athalyah, the mother of Ahazyahu, saw that her son was dead, she rose up and destroyed all the offspring of the reign of the house of Yahudah. But Yehoshua, the daughter of the sovereign, took Yoash, son of Ahazyahu, and stole him away from among the sovereign's sons who were slain, and put him and his nurse in a bedroom. So Yehoshua, the daughter of sovereign Jehoram, the wife of Yahoyada, the kohen, because she was the sister of Ahazyahu, hid him from Athalyah, so that she could not put him to death. And he was hidden with them in the house of Elohim for 6 years, while Athalyah was reigning over the land. Divrei ha'Yamim2, 2Chronicles, chapter 23. And in the 7th year Yahoyada strengthened himself and made a covenant with the commanders of hundreds, Azariah, son of Yeroham, and Yishmael, son of Yochanan, and Azaryahu, son of Oved, and Masayahu, son of Adayahu, and Elishaphat, son of Zikri. And they went about through Yahudah and gathered the Levites from all the cities of Yahudah and the chiefs of the fathers of Yisrael, and they came to Yerushalayim. And all the assembly made a covenant with the sovereign in the house of Elohim, and he said to them, "See, the son of the sovereign is to reign, as Yahuah has said of the sons of David. This is what you do, 1/3 of you entering on the Shabbat of the Kohenim and the Levites, gatekeepers of the thresholds, and 1/3 are at the sovereign's house, and 1/3 at the gate of the foundation, while all the people are in the courtyards of the house of Yahuah. And let no one come into the house of Yahuah except the Kohenim and those of the Levites who serve. They go in, for they are Kodesh, but all the people are to guard the charge of Yahuah. And the Levites shall surround the sovereign on all sides, every man with his weapons in his hand, and whoever comes into the house, let him be put to death. And be with the sovereign when he comes in and when he goes out." And the Levites and all Yahudah did according to all that Yahoyada the kohen commanded. And each man took his men who were to come in on the Shabbat with those going out on the Shabbat, for Yahoyada the kohen did not dismiss the divisions. And Yahoyada the kohen gave to the commanders of hundreds the spears and the large and small shields, which had been sovereign David's, that were in the house of Elohim. And he stood all the people, every man with his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the house to to the left side of the house, along by the altar and by the house, all around the sovereign. And they brought out the son of the sovereign and put on him the diadem and the witness, and appointed him to reign. Then Yahoyada and his sons anointed him and said, "Let the sovereign live." And Athalyah heard the noise of the people running and praising the sovereign, and she came to the people in the house of Yahuah, and looked and saw the sovereign standing by his column at the entrance. And the chiefs and the trumpeters were beside the sovereign, and all the people of the land rejoicing and blowing trumpets, also the singers with instruments of song, and those who led in praise. Then Athalyah tore her garments and said, "Treason! Treason!" And Yahoyada the kohen brought out the commanders of hundreds who were put over the army, and said to them, "Take her outside the ranks and slay with the sword whoever follows her." For the kohen said, "Do not kill her in the house of Yahuah." So they laid hands on her, and she went by way of the entrance of the horse gate into the sovereign's house, and they put her to death there. Yahoyada then made a covenant between himself and the people and the sovereign to be the people of Yahuah. And all the people went to the house of Baal and broke it down. They completely broke up its altars and images, and slew Matan the priest of Baal before the altars. And Yahoyada put the offices of the house of Yahuah into the hand of the Kohanim, the Levites, whom David had assigned in the house of Yahuah to offer the burnt offerings of Yahuah, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe, with rejoicing and with singing by the hands of David. And he stood the gatekeepers at the gates of the house of Yahuah, so that no one who was in any way unclean should enter. And he took the commanders of hundreds, and the nobles, and the governors of the people, and all the people of the land, and brought the sovereign down from the house of Yahuah. And they went through the upper gate to the sovereign's house, and placed the sovereign on the throne of the reign. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city had rest, for they had slain Athalyah with the sword. Dibrey ha'Yamim2, 2Chronicles, chapter 24. Yo'ash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Zivyah of Beersheba. And Yo'ash did what was right in the eyes of Yahuah all the days of Yahoyada the kohen. And Yahoyada took for him 2 wives, and he brought forth sons and daughters. And after this it came to be that Yo'ash applied his heart on restoring the house of Yahuah. And he gathered the Kohanim and the Levites, and said to them, "Go out to the cities of Yehudah, and gather from all Yisrael silver to repair the house of your Elohim from year to year, and see that you hurry the matter." But the Levites did not hurry it. And the sovereign called Yahoyada the chief, and said to him, "Why have you not required the Levites to bring in from Yehudah and from Yerushalayim the levy of Moshe the servant of Yahuah, and of the assembly of Yisrael, for the tent of the witness?" For the sons of Athalyah, that wicked woman, had broken into the house of Elohim, and had also prepared all the Kodesh vessels of the house of Yahuah to the Baals. So the sovereign commanded, and they made a chest, and put it outside at the gate of the house of Yahuah, and made it known in Yehudah and in Jerusalem to bring to Yahuah the levy that Moshe the servant of Elohim had imposed on Yisrael in the wilderness. And all the rulers and all the people rejoiced, and they brought in and put them into the chest to completion. And it came to be at that time, when the chest was brought to the sovereign's official by the hand of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much silver, that the sovereign's scribe and the Kohen Hagadol's officer came and emptied the chest, and took it and returned it to its place. So they did day by day, and gathered a large amount of silver. And the sovereign and Yahoyada gave it to those who did the work of the service of the house of Yahuah. And they hired stonemasons and carpenters to restore the house of Yahuah, and also those who worked in iron and bronze to repair the house of Yahuah. And the workmen labored, and the work of restoration progressed in their hands, and they established the house of Elohim to its proper form, and strengthened it. And when they had finished, they brought the rest of the silver before the sovereign and Yahoyada, and they made utensils from it for the house of Yahuah, utensils for serving and offering, ladles and vessels of gold and silver. And they offered burnt offerings in the house of Yahuah continually all the days of Yahoyada. And Yahoyada was old and satisfied with days, and died 130 years old when he died. And they buried him in the city of David among the sovereigns, for he had done good in Yisrael, both toward Elohim and his house. And after the death of Yahoyada, the rulers of Yehuda came and bowed themselves to the sovereign, and the sovereign listened to them, and they forsook the house of Yahuah, Elohim of their fathers, and served the Asherim and the idols, and wrath came upon Yehuda and Jerusalem because of their trespass. And he sent Nevi'im to them to bring them back to Yahuah, and they witnessed against them, but they did not listen. Then the Ruah of Elohim came upon Zechariah, son of Jehoiada, the kohen, who stood above the people, and said to them, Thus said Elohim, why are you transgressing the commands of Yahuah, and do not prosper? Because you have forsaken Yahuah, he has forsaken you. And they conspired against him, and at the command of the sovereign they stoned him with stones in the courtyard of the house of Yahuah. Thus Yoash the sovereign did not remember the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, and slew his son. And as he died he said, Yahuah sees and repays. And it came to be at the turn of the year that the army of Aram came up against him, and they came into Yehuda and Jerusalem, and destroyed all the rulers of the people from among the people, and sent all their spoil to the sovereign of Damasek. And the army of Aram came with few men, but Yahuah gave a very great army into their hand, because they had forsaken Yahuah, Elohim of their fathers. So they executed judgment against Yoash. And when they had withdrawn from him, for they left him very sick, his own servants conspired against him because of the blood of the sons of Yahoyada the kohen, and slew him on his bed, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, but they did not bury him in the tombs of the sovereigns. And these are the ones who conspired against him: Zavad the son of Shemath the Ammonites, and Jehozabad the son of Shimrith the Moabites. As to his sons, and the many words about him, and the rebuilding of the house of Elohim, see, they are written in the commentary of the book of the sovereigns. And Ahazyahu his son reigned in his place.